All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Recurly product training. This training is part of a series of webinars designed to give existing Recurly merchants more insight into the features and functionality Recurly offers, or in this particular case, some insight into what customers are doing with Recurly's current functionality to support a feature we don't formally offer, in this case, gift subscriptions. So today, as I mentioned, we're going to cover gift subscriptions, shipping physical goods, and I'm also going to do a review of a brand new feature we have that allows you to subscribe a user to multiple instances of the same subscription on their plan. So to start off the conversation, I'll introduce myself. My name is Rachel Quick. I am the Senior Director of Customer Support at Recurly. Chances are if you filed a support ticket, you've probably talked to me or one of our wonderful support team members. So we're going to have just a brief introduction here. On the right side of your screen, you have a GoToMeeting panel. And throughout the course of this webinar, this training session, please feel free to use the chat or question section to post a question. I'll keep an eye on it throughout the webinar if something pops up when I'm talking, but at the end, we'll also have a Q&A. So we're going to talk about gift subscriptions. I'm going to share sort of three different ways merchants have implemented this within their own Recurly checkout process, divided in an easy, medium, and hard integration. We're going to talk about the different things you need to consider when implementing gift subscriptions. We're also going to talk about how merchants are using Recurly to ship physical goods. And then we're going to cover, as I mentioned, the multiple subscription per account product. Then at the end, we'll open it up to questions and wrap up the webinar. All right. So one of the first things we should talk about is that Recurly actually doesn't have formal support for gift subscriptions, but we've seen a lot of really unique merchant solutions to this issue. One of the very first ones, and this is what I would call sort of the easy implementation, is to use it with coupons. If you have a customer who has purchased a gift subscription or they've bought something they want to give as a gift, you can then create a coupon, which I show here on the left side of the screen. Then, when their gift recipient goes to check out, they can enter the coupon code. And as you see here, it's discounted the full price and the customer is charged nothing. Now, the downside to this integration method is it does require the gift recipient to enter a credit card. Recurly does require credit card information for a subscription. So again, the downside is that the gift recipient does have to enter that credit card information. But the upside for you as a merchant is if the gift recipient decides to continue their subscription after the gift period ends, you already have their billing information on file. So there's a lower barrier to re-entry and to get them as a permanent subscriber. So in this case, the merchant gives the gift recipient or the gift purchaser a coupon code, and they can then give it to their gift recipient to redeem on any of the Recurly checkout forms, which you can see here. So the next integration is a little bit more tricky. It's a multi-step scenario. This is one of my favorite merchants, Handmade Tea. They have an amazing website where the gentleman who runs it makes his own batches of tea each month and sends them out. And he's done a really creative integration with Recurly.js and sending gift subscriptions. And also, you'll notice, sending a physical good, a one-time purchase of a teapot. So what Caleb at Handmade Tea has done here is he has a separate workflow for gift subscriptions. And when you click Buy Now, a Recurly.js checkout form pops up. So the first step is that the purchaser enters all of their payment information. So they're getting that all on file. And then after you click Pay, he has a separate flow that collects shipping information, and he stores that internally. So every month he knows to just go ahead and bill the customer whose billing information he's collected here, but then he has internally shipping information stored that he uses when he actually packages up his tea mixes and sends it out. The other nice thing I noted here is he does have this one-time teapot purchase, which is a really nice addition to a gift subscription checkout. Now, the third scenario is a bit more complicated, but this is a really nice scenario. I actually just signed up myself for this today as I was going through our content. So what this merchant is doing is right at the onset of their checkout process, they are asking if this is a gift subscription, and if it is, you can define how long you would like your recipient to get your product for, and you can have all this extra information collected. And what's really important here is that this merchant is doing all of this outside of Recurly. So, he's putting in information about where it's going, and he's storing that inside of his own database. But when the purchaser is checking out, he stores that inside of Recurly. So it's a little bit more complicated because you're mapping what's inside of Recurly to what you store locally, but it results in a really seamless checkout flow. So I went through this process myself, and then I got a really nice email, you can see here, letting me know I got a gift subscription. So they handled this outside of Recurly again, but they used our webhooks to say, okay, there's a new subscription. It's to our gift plan. So let's send out this email from whatever email system they use to the gift recipient. So I knew right away I received a gift, and I also received a nice link letting me know who sent me the gift, so I could say thank you. Because this doesn't really require logging in to a website, or it's not an online service, this is a really great flow for shipping physical goods, because all that matters on the Recurly side is that Recurly has payment information. So you use Recurly to track all of that. But as a merchant shipping things, you also need to have that extra information that they're storing internally. Recurly doesn't need to know about that. So it can be all handled on your side, and you can design that flow. It doesn't require any credit card from the customer, so it's a very seamless flow from the gift recipient's point of view. Right. So a few things you need to think about when you're doing a gift subscription. As I mentioned, Recurly does require a credit card to add a subscription to an account. So you have to decide if that's something you're okay with and you go the coupon flow, or maybe something you want to hide from the gift recipient and you go more of the handmade tea or the sock panda flow, where that's handled outside of Recurly. The other thing you want to think about is what happens at renewal. What happens if the gifter's payment fails on a renewal? What happens if the gift period expires and the customer who received the gift wants to continue? Those are things to think about, and all things that you can manage within Recurly. And again, customer communication. Do you want the person who purchased the subscription to get email notifications, or do you want the recipient? That also ties in with the customer experience and your development resources. There are many, many different ways you can implement a gift subscription flow, and it all depends on how seamless you want it to look, what level of customer experience for both the purchaser and the recipient to have. And depending on the developer resources you have at hand, we can really help match you with the right gift subscription workaround. All right. So one of the things Recurly has added recently is the ability to collect an extra set of address information. And for the purposes of this webinar, you would use it for example, shipping something. So one of our customers is Dropcam. And for those of you not familiar with Dropcam, it's a sort of home monitoring camera solution. So it has a physical good that's shipped once, and then they have this recurring component for their service every month. So as part of their checkout flow, they have a step to collect billing information and shipping information so they know where to send the camera. And what they're doing here in this checkout flow is collecting an extra set of information that then gets stored inside of Recurly, on the account. So if you take a look at this screenshot here, you can have within one account, you can have it billed to one person, but then you can have this extra set of address information that maybe stands for where a good should be shipped, or maybe it's a corporate card and the subscription is actually being applied to one of your remote locations. So you have the ability to store this shipping address, and it's fully exportable from Recurly. So at the end of the month, if you're looking to ship your product or your gift, you can do an account information export, and then you have your shipping information. Now, this also applies or goes into taxes as well. So if an account is being invoiced with a credit card, we would use the billing information on file to handle taxes. If you're a company that does manual invoicing and you have that enabled on your Recurly account, we look at the account level address to process taxes. So that's something to keep in mind as well. All right, so something we've added to Recurly recently is a feature called multiple subscriptions per account. And before, Recurly would only allow you to subscribe to a specific plan once. You could increase the quantity, of course. You could have, 5 instances of the same plan, but everything was billed on the same cycle. What we found more recently, especially with customers who are shipping physical goods, is they may want the same subscription plan but billed at different cycles. So you can see here I have on one account, they're actually subscribed to the same plan 4 times. And most of them started on June 5th, so they're all going to be billed on June 5th. But if the customer comes back and says, I really want to buy this for my mother, they can go in and there's a new bill cycle. So, their subscription gets billed every month on June 5th, but then they have the second subscription that bills on the 27th. A really great example we've seen of this is BarkBox. BarkBox is one of Recurly's customers, and maybe you have a dog that just goes through your BarkBox like crazy. Now you can set it up so that you have 2 subscriptions to BarkBox, and they sort of alternate delivery. So you get it every 2 weeks instead of every week. So there's a lot more flexibility now, and there's also the ability within each of these to change your add-ons. So you can have one that's a gift subscription, one in my very silly scenario here that has an add-on for sprinkles. So there's a lot more flexibility in what each subscription plan means and what it provisions to the customer. All right. So a couple things to mention here at the end, again, is gift subscriptions is not a formally supported Recurly product, but there are merchants out there that have done really fabulous things with it. And it's all a matter of building on Recurly's core functionality, which we try to keep broad and elegant for the most user cases, and then building on that with your custom needs. So whether you want to have your customers enter a coupon to get a free subscription, or you don't even want the gift recipient to see that Recurly was used to process their gift, there's a way to do this for any customer. So I have a link up here, rachelquick.youcanbook.me. This is my calendar online. If you want to sit down with me for 30 minutes to an hour and talk about your gift subscription or your shipping workflow and see how we can fit into your business, I'd be more than happy to sit down with you and figure out which of these solutions or maybe even another one works for you. All right. A few questions are coming in. So Ian asked, when you go into the coupon flow, how is the coupon generated by the purchaser? Ian, that's a great question. I'm going to go back to that checkout flow here. So this is probably the easiest implementation method for gift subscriptions. If you have a pretty low volume of gift subscriptions, this is something I would recommend doing manually. You have a gift purchase that occurs, your customer service staff can go in, generate a coupon, and then send that to either the recipient or actually the purchaser for the purchaser to give out. Other merchants do this more programmatically, where they have a subscription plan that's sort of identified as a gift subscription. And when they see an API response or a webhook indicating that that purchase has gone through, they use the API to create a coupon and they send that to the customer all programmatically. So again, it's really a matter of what developer resources you have and sort of how much volume you have. You have a lot of flexibility here, so you can do a lot of different things. All right. Any other questions about what we've talked about here? I'll give people a few minutes to go ahead and type their questions into the Go to Meeting section on the right side of your screen. All right. A few people have asked, is this presentation available on the web? Absolutely. So we will make it available at info.recurly.com. If you want to shoot an email to our support team, which is support@recurly.com, I'll get this processed and up on the internet for you shortly, and we can send you the full recording of this webinar. All right. James, I see you have your hand raised. If you want to post your question over in the question section, we can get that answered for you. All right, I can see a few people are typing their questions. So while they're typing, one of the things I'll point out with Handmade Tea is that they've made use of a commonly unused or uncommonly used Recurly feature, which is the ability to set limited number of bill cycles. So in here, and this is really a perfect situation for gift subscriptions, they've created subscription plans that will renew, in this case, for 6 months and then end. So it gives your customer the ability to say, you know, all I want to pay is $17.95 a month for 6 months, and then I'm done giving the gift. You know, it's a really nice option for the purchaser because they don't have to remember to go in and cancel when their budget has been hit, or they don't have this continually renewing gift subscription. The downside, of course, is that then if the gift recipient wants the service for longer, they have to contact you to extend the subscription. But it's definitely doable. If they decide that they love their 6-month gift subscription and want to become a customer themselves, they can contact your support team and change the subscription from one with a set end date to one that renews continuously and change it over to their billing information. I recently did this with my sister. I sent her a gift subscription and realized it was going on for about 18 months. And I thought, okay, you know, she loves it. The gift is over. It's time for her to take over the subscription. And she did. The gift was enough to sort of make her a lover of the product. And now she opted in and is paying for it herself. All right. Well, I don't see any more questions coming in. So again, I'll pop over to our last slide, which has my contact information as well as our documentation. So please feel free to book that 30-minute session if you want to discuss your specific use cases. These are some of my favorite things to do at Recurly. I think one of our advantages from other billing providers is that we take the time to sit with you and understand your use case and see how we can help your specific business. We're not a call center. We're real people who have been dealing with real billing problems, and we really look forward to working with you on implementing a gift subscription flow. I know it seems early to be talking about the holidays, but if you want to implement this, start thinking about developer resources, start thinking about how much time you need to integrate and test, and August is as good of a time as any to start planning for the holidays. Thank you everyone for attending, and I look forward to seeing you in support. Have a good afternoon.